Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Windward Buddhist Temple's family service. I'm so glad to see everybody again. It's also nice to see the sun too, since it was a little gray this morning. So I'm glad for that. We will begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or kansho. This signifies the beginning of a temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. Please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana and Tisarana by the congregation in Pali and in English. For those of you new to our services, this can be found on page 7 of the Red Jodo Shinsu service book. Please be seated. Today's sutra, Gasho with Amida, can be found on page 14 in the purple supplemental service book.
In the
Please rise and recite the Golden Chain of Love found in the red Jodo Shinsu service book on page 126. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only on my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Please continue to stand for the Gatha, Children in Japan, and this can be found in the Brown Praises of the Buddha book on page 29. Please be seated. Our guest speaker today is someone we should all be familiar with, Miss Prudence Cusano.
Good morning. It's our first Sunday, and we said we'd start with addressing our children. So I'm so excited. I have one child here today, and all the rest of you are, that's right, children at heart. Okay, before I start, let's put our hands together. Breaking away from my greed, anger, and ignorance, I will try to live in peace and harmony, just like the Buddha, who shares tranquility and kindness with all. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Okay, it's also the day when we have intergenerational activities, and of course the purpose for that is to have the seniors work with the children, and hopefully the children work with the seniors, because sometimes we don't understand the instructions. But anyway, today I will talk about the 3 poisons. And then I want to read you a story that I think illustrates the 3 poisons. Now, all Buddhists learn about the 3 poisons that all human beings experience. So children, when we say poison, it doesn't mean poison that's going to kill you now. It's poisons that may not make ourselves feel good. So what are they? They are called greed, anger, ignorance, or stupidity. Many speakers refer to them as GAS or gas, and that's why they changed the word ignorance to stupidity. So it's easier to say gas than to say what? GAI. Okay. So usually when we say about the three poisons, what we need to do is to try to recognize that we are being affected by them and then try to understand it and then correct it if we can. And that should help us. So now let's talk about greed. What is it? What is being greedy like? It does not mean only that you take a lot of things or you take more than what you can eat. Sometimes it's something like if you don't want to share something, or not sharing your toys, not taking care of your toys and wanting more. We always say, don't be so greedy. Now, what is anger? Of course, this is one of the easiest to recognize because we usually get angry, and then, my 4- and 9-year-old grandsons, they always say, you make me angry. But actually, nobody makes you angry. You make yourself angry, right? And so you can choose to be calm or you can be angry. Even adults, we get angry, especially when I'm driving. I get so angry at the other drivers, So instead of getting mad at them for cutting in front, I should say, I should be grateful that I didn't run into them. And then you got to think, if I were in their shoes, maybe they have a good reason to do that. Okay, now what is ignorance? And like I said earlier, some people call it stupidity. And it means that you don't have the whole story, or you're not aware of what's going on. And you cannot self-reflect and think about what I did was right or wrong. So if we understand that we are all affected by the three poisons, and once you recognize them, being affected by it, you can stop and correct your behavior and therefore feel better. Now I'm going to read you a book written by this book. Have some of you read this? Okay. It's one of the books that was recommended by a speaker from the Buddhist Churches of America. She had a virtual seminar, and she listed a lot of non-Buddhist books that she felt has Buddhist lessons, and this was one of them. So I want to use this book. And it's written by Ryan T. Higgins. Okay? So while you listen to the story, I want you to see if you can recognize greed, anger, and ignorance. Okay. Norman was a porcupine. Norman's best friend was Mildred, and Mildred was a tree. Okay? Norman and Mildred did everything together. Strike one, he'd play baseball. You'd see the birds up there, chip, chip, and he's looking up. You're right, Mildred. It is a little yellow-bellied sapsucker. I love playing tree together. He plays checkers. He says, yay, you win. So Norman was happy with the way things were. Okay, one more chapter, then it's light out, Mildred. Norman and Mildred, Mildred and Norman. Just the two of them. Until one day, pop, there was someone else. And who is that? It was another tree. Suddenly, it was no longer just Norman and Mildred. Now it was Norman, Mildred, and the other tree. This did not sit well with Norman. Norman began to worry. What if the other tree wanted to be friends with Mildred? What if Mildred liked the other tree? And what if Mildred liked the other tree more than she liked Norman? Norman kept a careful eye on the other tree, see, and he watched as Mildred and the other tree grew closer. Now, Mildred's playing ball with the other tree. And closer. Now there's two birds. I say, and closer. You're playing tree without me. Fine, you win. Life wasn't the same. Then it happened, the worst thing possible. They touched each other. Mildred and the other tree grew too close together. This is the last straw. Even though in this case there were no straws, just branches. Okay. Norman could not lose his best friend, not to the other tree. Something had to be done. So he starts researching things. Norman planned and he planned until his plan was just right. What do you think he's going to do? Then, under the cover of night, Norman dug up the other tree. And he took it far away, very far away, very, very far away, to a place where the other tree would never come between Norman and Mildred ever again. So he planted it in the middle of the lake, or river, whatever. And just like that, the other tree was gone. Norman and Mildred were back together, just the two of them. Look at his smile. Other tree? What other tree? Oh, that other tree? I don't know what happened to the other tree. I didn't do anything. Maybe it went on vacation. Maybe it moved. How should I know? There, Mildred, you still have me. Soon Norman started to think about Mildred without her new friend. Norman started to think about the other tree, all alone out there. Norman started to think about himself and what he did. What if someone had seen him? Let's think. There was the moon, there was the stars, there was the grass and the trees. Oh no, the trees. What if they saw me? What if one tree tells the other tree, who tells another tree, who tells another tree, who tells Mildred? What am I going to do? What have I done? What if digging up your friend's friend in the middle of the night and taking that friend very, very far away was not the right thing to do? What if it was the wrong thing to do? Stop staring at me, Mildred. And what does he do? Falls right into the hole. I have hit rock bottom. Something had to be done. Norman planned and he planned again. There he goes to where he left the other tree. Then he went back to try to undo what he had done. Yes, you're right. I went a little bit overboard. But in my defense, you were touching branches. Norman knew life was going to be different. Look who's back, Mildred. And that was okay. He might even like it. Look, they're reaching for each other. So Norman and Mildred and the other tree, they were happy. See, he's put a hammock up. Okay, did you recognize when Norman was being greedy? Yeah. You know, he didn't want to share his friend. And I think, you know, when you're children, especially, he's my friend. You cannot be his friend, you know? You've gone through that. Or you have groups of kids and they say, we're not talking to her or we're not talking to him. We're not inviting him to our birthday party. I mean, you just want to keep the people you have and you don't want to share. And then you saw how he got angry and angrier. What else? Did you see when he realized he was being ignorant, and then he corrected himself. Is that right? You know, Amida Buddha doesn't expect us to be perfect. He just wants us to try our best at all times. Did you enjoy that story? You know, for those of you that may want to borrow the book, I'll leave it in our library. So it's a really neat book if you have children. you know, because they kind of get the idea because they act like that sometimes. You know. So my grandson wanted me to, can you read it again, Grandma? I said, oh, sure, I'll read it to you again. All right. Well, that was my message for the children, and I hope you adult children enjoyed it too. Let's put our hands together for an aspiration. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay.
Thank you, Prudence. Sometimes I think, you know, that book is meant for adults too, because there are some adults who act like Norman. Not that I know any of them myself. Please rise for the Gatha Buddha Loves You, which can be found on the Praises of the Buddha book on page 24, and continue to stand for the Nembutsu, which can be found on page 135 of the Red Jodo Shinshu book.
I cannot see the light, my eyes blinded by my evil-centered passions and delusion. Amida's great compassionate light shines upon me unceasingly. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. Well, this concludes our service for today. I now hand off to Prudence for announcements.
I'm covering for Cynthia since her car is not available to her and she didn't have a ride over. So let me get my papers here. Thank you, Cookie, for officiating this morning's service, and Miles for serving as our MC, and Bob for being the greeter, and Neil, of course, for ringing the conch, and Lisa for playing the piano. And today's refreshments is provided by Team B, led by Dana. She wanted me to give you some reminders for March, which is turning out to be a very busy month. There's meditation sessions that are continuing here at our temple every Thursday from 5 to 6, led by Reverend Burt. Adult Dharma class will begin on Saturday, March 11th, from 10 to 11 here at our temple, and will be led by Reverend Burt and assisted by Reverend Barbara. The topic will be Basic Buddhism. The flyers are posted on the board in the social hall for the Kauai Honganji Council's Nembutsu seminar on March 17th. And then there's the Buddhist Study Center Spring Virtual Session that's on March 25. So take a look at the flyers. Our Hawaii Food Bank Drive will start March 19th through April 16th. And the boxes will be set up for collections starting next week. As mentioned last week, the Hawaii Buddhist Council's Buddha Day service is going to be held Sunday, April 2nd at the Jodo Mission of Hawaii. The Betsuing Choir has been invited to sing at the service, and they have asked if we at Buddhist Windward would like to join them to sing at the service as part of the Hompa Honganji Choir. The practice session will be held on Wednesday, March 29th, from 10:45 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. in the Annex Temple of the Betsuing. Additional details will be shared later. However, if you are interested in participating, please contact Dennis. A new program will begin next month and offered to our members. The program is called Bone Fitness Classes. These classes will incorporate bone dance music along with movement and mental exercises. Movement exercises because you are physically dancing and doing warm-up exercises, and mental because you're remembering the moves. These classes will be taught by a professional instructor and will be offered at no cost to you. Okay? The classes will be held every second and fourth Fridays on the month, starting from 1:30 to 2:30 at the temple. And the members of the Kaneohe Higashi Honganji will also be participating. So she says this is a wonderful opportunity to connect with and make new friendships, and is in line with this year's Hompa Honganji Mission of Hawaii theme, Building Healthy Sanghas, Sharing Joy Together. So please join us at our first class on Friday, March 24 at 1:30. Another thing, next week our speaker is posted as Reverend Barbara, but for most of you, you know that we've been participating with the Kailua service events, care events, which is taking care of the homeless people, and it's a joint project between Daybreak Church and YMCA up in, as you go up the Pali Highway. And we have been participating for the past 4 or 5 years. And what they've had is they have lots of organizations, and most of the churches along Pali Highway participate, and we take each 1 month. Every fourth Tuesday, they provide warm lunch, excuse me, and a lot of resources are gathered there. So they have a hot shower, that portable one that comes by, so people can have hot showers. They provide resources and services that gather there, so people can help them document their ID if they've lost it, help them get connected to housing and temporary employment. So we've been doing every April, so the fourth Tuesday in April. We started off with about 30 to 40 meals. It's up to 50 now. And so I recently went up with a group of Reverend Barbara and some others to observe them for Friday, and this on February, and it was very impressive. So Reverend had asked Karen Radius, who's in charge of the program, to come here next week to speak about it. She thought it would be nice for the Sangha to hear what they do And then if you all want to participate, we're going to be preparing the meal here. And they suggested we put it in bento containers and we take it up to Daybreak Church. And the people start arriving at 8:30. They're so hungry. They probably hadn't eaten for the whole month. We also are participating by providing them at least 50 bags of food that would hopefully carry them over to the next time that they can find something to eat. So it's a impressive place. The Daybreak Church collects used clothing and other items that people, one day they had a young woman who happened to be living in one of the bushes, but she wanted to go for a job interview. So she came there, had a hot shower. There's a lady there that cuts hair free, and she chose some clothes, and hopefully she was able to get the employment. Okay, let's see. The other thing is, you recently received a newsletter, and instead of putting staples, we now put those stickers so that hopefully it's easier for the seniors to break it apart. But when we got ours, our envelope wasn't in there. So I said, oh my God, did it slip out? Did you all receive envelopes in your newsletter? Okay. So we must have just missed the one that we received. So, okay. Let's see. All right, today is also the first Sunday, so it's birthday Sunday. So we have birthdays. If Roy, if you'd come up and do that. You want me to just ask birthday people? Okay, who's celebrating a birthday this month? Please stand. Yay! Wow, you got to keep standing so that Roy can come around and, wow. On back there. Tack. And Moira. Oh, matches you. All right, if you all three come up so we can have a picture. Oh. Okay. All right. Let's all sing happy birthday, okay? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you.
Take off your mask.
So we can see your face. There we go. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to set up the table in the back for our craft work. And last week I showed you, we're going to use squeegees to paint. And then you can do it this way. You can just squeegee across, or you can paint your whole board and do whatever. So it's, you know, it's kind of fun to do. And the first one I showed you, you know, you got to put dots, different, and all you do is when you get the squeegee, you spool it down. You don't know what you're going to get, but it'll be interesting. And I'm going to do 6 at a time because I didn't want to buy 16 squeegees. You know, what am I going to do with the squeegees? Unless you do squeegee art again. So we'll start with 6, and then when they're done, we'll do another 6, okay? We can do more than 12. Okay, before we leave to go next door for refreshment. Let us put our hands together, and it's on, for those of you, it's on, I think, page 126, Words of Thanksgiving in your red book. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namu Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you.